Welcome to this second part of the video lecture on construction of SLR parsing table and the parsing of the given string for given grammar. So step 1 for constructing the LR0 items and the LR0 automata was discussed in the part 1 of this video lecture. In this second part, I'll be discussing the construction of SLR parsing table and parsing of the given string using the SLR parsing table. So in the part 1, I have discussed about constructing the LR0 automata and the LR0 items. So for this given grammar, we have identified 9 items, that is I0 to I8, and the automata for this grammar also we have discussed. Now in this I'll be discussing the construction of SLR parsing table and parsing of the string. So as I said, the SLR parsing table, which is having two parts, that is action part and the go to part. So we'll go ahead with the construction of SLR parsing table. This will have 4 possible entries. One is the shift, second is reduce, third is accept, and fourth is error. The empty entry will be considered as error entry. Now we'll go ahead. So the rules and the theory will not be considered. So we'll start with the state number 0. So state 0, for finding this, will be referring to the parsing table. In this, for the terminal symbols, for opening and for A, there are transitions to state I2 and to state I3. So we'll have, for opening, we'll have shift to action, that is S to action, and then for A also will have the shift 3 action. Then the next I1, that is this 1. So this 1 is not having any outgoing transition, so there will not be any shift action. Now we'll see what is I1. Here I1 is having S dash gives S dot. So this results in accept action for the state number 1 and for dollar. So this becomes accept. Now we'll go ahead with state number 3 in this parsing table. Now we'll go ahead with 2. Now 2 has these two transitions with the terminal, that is opening and A. So it will again get S2 here and S3 here, shift actions here. Now further, in these in this I0 and I2, basically we can see here I0 is not having dot at the end of all these elements, and even in I2 there is no dot at the end. So these two are not having any reduce action. Now we'll go ahead with the next, that is the 3. So in the parsing table for 3 there is no outgoing transition, and so we'll have to refer to I3 here. I3 which is having dot at the end. So if there is a dot at the end, it is supposed to get the reduce action. So we need to find the follow of S. So in this grammar, this is the given grammar, and these are the 4 production rules. Follow of S which is occurring here, L gives S, so follow of S will be equal to follow of L, and it will get dollar because S is the start symbol. So follow of S will first of all get dollar, and it will get follow everything in follow of L. Now follow of L, after L is this comma which is a terminal, so follow of L will get comma, and after L is this closing which is a terminal, so follow of L is having comma and closing bracket. So follow of S will get dollar because it is start symbol, it will get closing bracket and comma. So for these 3 will get the reduce action. But what will be the reduce action? Now as it is S gives A dot, S gives A is a rule number 2. It will get R2 action in these 3 columns, which dollar, closing and comma. So here dollar closing and comma, it will get reduced section. So done with 3. Now for 4. For 4 there is no outgoing transition. So we need to refer to this. For 4 there is L gives S dot. That means we need to find follow of L, and L gives S dot. L gives S dot, which is rule number 4. So R4 will be added in follow of L, that is closing and comma. So R4 will be added here. For this 4 and closing, R4 will get added. For 4 and comma, R4 will get added. That is reduce by rule number 4 will get added here. Then the next is 5. So 5 has got these two, that is I6 and I7 for closing and comma again. So this will get I5 will get shift 6 and shift 7 in these two, that is closing. So this will get shift 6 and the comma will get shift 7. Now we'll refer to I5. I5 is not having dot at the end, so there will not be any reduce action. Now we'll go ahead with I6. I6 is not having any outgoing, but I6 has a dot at the end. I6 has a dot at the end. S gives within bracket L. So S gives within bracket L is rule number 1, and that will be added in follow of S, that is dollar closing and comma will get R1. So dollar closing and comma, dollar closing and comma will get R1 here. Now the next is 7. For 7 we'll refer to the parsing table again. Now parsing table for 7 has these 3 actions. So it will get the shift actions for opening bracket and for A. So this will be S2 and S3 again. S2 here and S3 here for opening and A respectively again. Now it is 8. For 8 there is no outgoing transition. So referring to this 8, which is L gives L comma S dot, as there is dot at the end, we need to add the rule in the follow of L. Now follow of L, which is closing and comma, and this L gives L comma S is rule number 3. So reduce by 3 will get added in these two columns. Reduce by rule number 3 will get added in closing and comma. So this is the action part that we have done with. Now we need to add the go to part also. So in the go to part, for 0, S will get, it is straight away to be copied from here. It will get I1, that means it will get 1. Now I2 will get 4 and 5. I2 will get 4 and 5. Then the next, which is I7 which will get 8 here. I7 which will get 8 here. So go to part is done. So what is done? Here these two are the non-terminal columns. So these 4 values straight away are copied here according to the corresponding LR0 item number. So this is the parsing table that we have constructed. Now we'll be using this parsing table to parse the given string. The given string is written here. the stack is supposed to get the first initial state 0. The symbol part is empty. The input is written here and it will end with the dollar here. And now we'll start with the parsing. We need to refer to 0 and opening, that is 0 and opening, which is shift and 2. So what will happen is 0 is here, 2 will get pushed onto the stack and this opening will go here, and now present input is this. Now we'll be referring to 2 and A here. Now by referring to 2 and A, 2 and A, it is shift 3. So shift 3, that means it will be 0, 2, 3 and A gets shifted, then it is comma, opening A and then dollar. Now we'll be referring to 3 and comma. 3 and comma, which is reduce by rule number 2. What is rule number 2? S gives A. So it will be reduce here. The action is to reduce by rule number 3, that is S gives A. So here for reducing, the top of the stack gets popped out. So it remains 0 and 2. Now this A needs to be replaced by S. It will be comma as it is. Then it will be opening bracket A and dollar. Now we'll be referring to 2 and S. 2 and S, which is 2 and S, which is 4. So 4 gets pushed onto the stack. So now we'll be referring to 4 and comma. So 4 and comma, which is the reduce by rule number 4, that is L gives S. So this will be here again reduce by rule number 4, that is L gives S. So here what will happen? 4 gets popped out, so it becomes 0 and 2 and this becomes L. It is comma, opening as it is. Now we'll be referring to 2 and L. So 2 and L, which is 5. So 5 gets pushed onto the stack. Now it will be 5 and comma, 5 and comma, which is shift and 7. So according to that, this will be 0, 2, 5, 7, opening L, comma, and then it will be opening bracket A. Now we'll be referring to 7 and opening bracket. 7 and opening bracket, 7 and opening bracket, which is shift and 2. So this will be 0, 2, 5, 7, 2. Then it is L, comma. This opening bracket gets shifted. Now it is A, comma, A and dollar. Now it will be 2 and A. 2 and A, which is again shift by 3, shift and 3. So it will be 0, 2, 5, 7, 2, 3. Now it is opening L, comma, opening A. Now it is comma, A, closing, closing and dollar. So it will be 3 and comma. 3 and comma, 3 and comma, which is reduced by rule number 2, which is S gives A. So S gives A. By this rule I have to reduce. So now for reducing, it will be to pop out the top of the stack. So it is L, comma, Now this A is replaced by S. Now what remains is written here. Now top of the stack is 2 and the state is S. So 2 and S, which is 4. So 4 gets pushed onto the stack. Now we'll be referring to 4 and comma. 4 and comma is here. 4 and comma, which is reduced by rule number 4, that is L gives S. So L gives S. So according to that, this will be 0, 2, 5, 7, 2. Opening L, comma, and then L here again. So I'll be referring to 2 and L. So 2 and L. 2 and L is 5. 2 and L is 5 here. 2 and L is 5 here. So I'll write down 5 here again. And this is comma, A, closing, closing, and dollar. Now I need to refer to 5 and comma. 5 and comma, which is shift. So it will be 0, 2, 5, 7, 2, 5 and 7. 5 and comma, which is shift and 7. So it will be opening L and then comma is shifted here. So it will be A, closing, closing, and dollar. Now I need to refer to 7 and A now. 7 and A, which is 7 and A, which is shift by 3. So it will be 0, 2, 5, 7, 2, 5, 7, 3. So it is L, comma, opening bracket, L, comma. Now this A is shifted. It is closing, closing, and dollar. Now I need to refer to 3 and closing. So 3 and closing. 3 and closing is reduced by rule number 2. So which is S gives A. By this rule I have to reduce. So it is 0, 2, 5, 7, 2, 5, 7. 3 is popped out. It will be opening bracket L, comma, opening bracket L, comma, S. Now it will be closing, closing, and dollar. Now 7 and S, which is 8. So I'll write down 8 here. Now it is 8 and closing. 8 and closing, which is reduced by rule number 3. That is L gives L, comma, S. L gives L, comma, S, reduced by rule number 3. So according to that, it will be now Z. Okay. Now as there are 3 parts, 1, 2 and 3, I need to pop out 3. So it will be 0, 2, 5, 7, 2, 5. Sorry, it will be 0, 2, 5, 7, 2. This 5 is not to be considered here. Then the next is within bracket L. Now L gives S is replaced by L. Now it is this closing bracket and dollar. Now I need to refer to 2 and L. 2 and L, which is 5. So this 5 gets pushed on here. Now I need to refer to 5 and closing again. 5 and closing is shift 6. So this becomes 0, 2, 5, 7, 2, 5, 6. L within bracket L, and then this closing is shifted here. Now it is this closing and dollar here. Now I need to refer to this 6 and closing. 6 and closing is reduced by rule number 1. So S gives within bracket L. Now I need to reduce by this rule. So for reducing by this rule, again there are 3 parts. So these 3 need to be popped out. So I write down 0, 2, 5, 7. 3 are popped out. Now it is within bracket L comma S and then closing and then dollar. Now I need to refer to 7 and S. So 7 and S. 7 and S is 8. So I'll write down here 8 again. Now it will be 8 and closing. 8 and closing. It is to reduce by rule number 3. Rule number 3 is L gives L comma S. L gives L comma S. So I have to reduce again by this rule. It is having 3 parts. So 3 things will be popped out. So it will be 0 and 2. So it will be 0 and 2. These 3 are popped out within bracket. Now this will be L. Then it is closing and dollar 2 and L. I need to refer to 2 and L, which is 5 here. So this will be 5 again. So I'll refer to 5 and closing now. 5 and closing, which is shift and 6. So this will be 0, 2, 5, 6 and this closing gets shifted here. Now I need to refer to 6 and dollar in this. 6 and dollar, which is reduced by rule number 1. Rule number 1 is S gives within bracket L. So I have to pop out 3. That is, I have to pop out the 3. So what remains is only 0. And this is replaced by S and this is replaced by dollar. 0 and S. 0 and S, which is 1. And now this is the accept configuration. S, which is the start symbol, and we have arrived at the start symbol, and this the input is also empty. So as the complete string is parsed, we can see that the string is accepted. So this is how in this I constructed the SLR parsing table using the LR0 automata, and using this parsing table we have parsed the string in this. Thank you.